The September 3rd, 2025 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board to order. I need to ask if there's anyone in the audience who might be recording this meeting. If so, please state your name and the method you're recording the meeting.
Sarah Heenan and Reminder Publishing.
Thank you. So we'll take roll call.
Bill Fonseca.
Russell Denver.
Cassandra Cherswolo.
Rob Terrell.
Rob Maxwell, Director of Planning.
And Mr. Punderson will be coming online. Okay. So the first order of business is approval of the August 19th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That matter passes. First order of business, Mr. Clerk.
Case SP. Oh, yep. Good start. Yeah. That's not all right. Okay. Case SP 2025-07. Request for a special permit to operate a restaurant at 59 Maple Street. Assessor's parcel ID 27-15-0. Located in the business zoning district. Applicant Seppi Berard, 82 Pembroke Terrace, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Petitioner here.
Can you guys see me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
You can't see me. Okay,
Hang on.
hang on.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Right here?
There we go.
You talk into the microphone if you could.
All right.
Did you know you had this many fans?
Yeah, someone called me earlier. No pressure.
All right.
Not at all.
So we really just want to know about the business.
Yeah.
How long you know, what it's going to be,
Yup.
the amount of traffic, hours of operation, that type of thing.
Yeah. Want to ask, I can answer.
Why
What
don't you just
me?
give us a narrative to
I've been in the business 30 years.
Excuse me, speak right into the microphone so everybody can hear you.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. I've been in the business for 30 plus years. My family owns Milano's Restaurant in Chicopee.
Okay.
Been owner operated for over 30 years, like I said. So I'm not new to the business. So I've always wanted to be in town, and an opportunity came up, and I'm looking to do a modern version of a panini shop, salad bowls, rice bowls, paninis, stuff like that, quick, fresh, and yeah, something easier than what I do today.
and your anticipated hours of operation.
11 to 9, not more or less 11:30. We're not exactly sure.
Okay.
I'd say no big difference between 11 and 9, the latest.
And the number of tables you expect to have?
Whatever the town allows me.
Okay.
I know Jack Chen was there prior to I was, so whatever I can have, I'll take. Casual dining, no servers or anything, something very, very casual.
Questions from the board? So this is a public hearing. So
Yeah.
we have to open the public hearing. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, on the motion to open the public hearing, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none. So if there's anyone in the audience that would like to be heard on this matter, please step forward. I'll ask one more time. If there's anyone in the audience that wants to be heard on this matter, please step forward. Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion made in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
And on the main matter, do I have a motion to approve the special permit, and do we want to have any conditions? Mr. Rushield.
I recommend going through the action items first, Mr. Chair.
Okay, why don't you walk us through that?
Need the microphone. Thank you. So if you go to page 3 of your permit application for this petition, there's some action items that the board has to go through one by one. The first is to vote to approve or deny the findings of the special permit, SB 25-07. Then next you have to take a vote to approve or deny any additional conditions on top of the standard that we include for all special permits. Then lastly, you have to vote to approve or deny the special permit overall. There are conditions worth discussing further up. Item 6. Do I go through them one by one, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Okay, so the first condition is to discuss hours of operation of the business. whether the board wants to set a hard close time or set a range, that's up to them.
Yep.
The second is to put a condition where it says you have to have all your necessary licenses current and active in order to operate the business on site. So that's if you need if you need any licenses from the health department or any other business license from the town, that sort. The third condition in the proposed conditions list is to state that any proposed signage to the business has to adhere to section 450-5.8 for zoning regulations, which we'll be happy to show you later on in the process. Fourth condition is to limit the number of seats inside a restaurant to 15. And of course, you can, the board can.
That's fine. 15 is plenty.
Okay. And then lastly, I did receive a comment from the sewer and water administrator in our public works department, the person in charge of the water and sewer lines. They suggested put a condition here that says prior to the operation of the business, you have to work with the public works department in town to have a cross connection survey conducted to determine whether a backflow prevention device is required for the property. And of course, you can work with your landlord on that
Okay.
and have them reach out and figure that situation.
Yeah, that would be on him, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but obviously you have to get that done before
Opening,
you open.
of course.
That's what I mean.
So you mentioned closing hours of 9. What would be your opening hours?
11
Okay,
and 9.
so if I follow this correctly, Rob, so we'll first vote on the conditions about the hours of operation being from 11 to 9, and then items B through E. So do I have a motion to approve those conditions?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the next would be on the planning board review standards. So I have a motion to approve those.
So moved.
So I have a second and a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And then on the overall special permit, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All set.
All right.
Hopefully you get this many people at your opening.
I hope so.
Good advertisement.
Thank you.
You're all set.
Reach out to you sometime tomorrow
About that, yeah, that second part. Sewer.
and like next steps and stuff.
I know everything was dug up before,
Yeah.
a couple months ago.
So we can talk about it further.
Yeah.
But I'll reach out to you.
Oh, right. All right.
Ready?
Thank you, guys.
So yeah, you have to like angle that microphone away, from that other one. There's the clerk back.
They're reading.
Ready?
Case sites -2025-03, request for site plan review approval to construct 4 manufacturing warehouse commercial buildings, combined total footprint of 455,936 square feet with 390 spaces at 330 Chestnut, Assessor's Parcel ID 18-38-0, located in Industrial Garden District, Vincent Pacino, 1260 Stelton Road, Aqua, New Jersey, 08854. I got that right.
So this will require a public hearing, so why don't we just get the vote to open the public hearing out of the way? Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So, to everybody in the crowd, I see a lot of familiar faces from a couple of years ago. So you might recall that Mr. Torsia was the chair for the majority of those hearings. I think he did a wonderful job. But I'm the chair. And I'm going to run things a little differently. So there are going to be some rules of the road. I'm going to tighten some things up. And for some of you who've been here for a while and heard some of this, I'm sorry, but it's worth repeating. We will have a civil discussion. Civil is no insults, no personal animosity to any of the speakers, or more importantly, to anybody sitting up here. So if anyone even thinks of accusing any board member up here of taking a bribe from a developer, which was done the last time, you had better wish that you don't, because the very next day, I will reach out to the Massachusetts Attorney General's office and file a complaint. That's how serious I take this. Couple other things. If you stand up and you say, well, everybody knows this, well, back it up. Back up what you're saying. And if you say you're an expert, prove you're an expert. And if you say, well, everybody knows this, or I read an article, cite the article. Cite the author, cite the date, cite the page. If you want to get materials to this planning board, they need to be received by noon of the previous Friday before the meeting. If you walk in here the night of the meeting and try to give us something, we're not taking it. We'll give it to Mr. Wachila and he'll give it to us at the next board meeting. All of us work, all of us are volunteering our time. So a lot of us spend the weekends reviewing all this stuff that you send us. So as a courtesy, you're going to do that. For the lawyers in the audience that you might be here representing clients, save the theatrics for the courtroom. Don't want any theatrics. If you need to make a legal point, make a legal point and do it calmly and no theatrics out of the lawyers. And I'm a lawyer, so I know what they can do. There were previously 10 meetings on this issue the last time. We will not hold 10 meetings on this issue this time. That is just not going to happen. Going back to the experts, we had one instance where a individual who was a selectman in an adjacent community who stood up, said he was an expert, and when questioned, he said he got the information from the developer, or not the developer, an individual who then got information from another individual who had worked at Packard Machinery 30 years ago. That means nothing to us, quite honestly. That is of no information for us to make a decision on something like that. Be concise in your comments. We had these boards prepared. These are the things this planning board can use to make a decision. And now I'm going to say something that will probably upset everybody in the room. It doesn't matter that there's 50 people in the room, 400 people in the room, and if all of you disagree with this project, if it meets the conditions up here, it's our legal obligation to approve it. Am I necessarily in favor of this? My preference has always been housing for that site, but I'm not the owner. That's the other thing. I'm not the owner of that property. And as long as they do what is allowed in that use, there's a leeway for a lot for them to do on that project. So you can stand up and you can certainly express your opinion that you don't like the proposed use. That is absolutely your right. But I'm going to ask everybody in the room to address those concerns that you see up there, because those are the things that we can use to make a decision. So the format that I'd like to use to start the meeting, and first I want to thank our town manager. So I went to him a couple of weeks ago and said, I want to get word out to as many people as possible about this hearing. And I know that they did a robo text or call, so I appreciate that. LCAT did a piece on this. Thank you very much. The reminder had a reminder about the meeting, so thank you very much about that. And the effort was to get word out to as many people about what was going on. So I want to, publicly thank Tom Christensen for doing that. So the format we're going to use is we'll allow the developers, the applicant, to present what their new plans are. And then if there are any lawyers in the audience who are here representing people who might be opposed, we'll allow them to come in. And remember, just get to the points and no theatrics. And then we will open it up to the general public. I'm thinking we're not going to go much longer than 8:30 this evening. So if need be, we will continue to 2 weeks from now. And with that, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this microphone working properly?
Just speak a little closer to it.
Speak closer to it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, laying out the process in such a clear manner. I'm here, my name is,
Louder.
better?
Yes, speak right into it.
And if you want to turn around, I'm okay. The board okay with that?
Yeah, and take it out
That
of,
is- Speaking to the board.
okay,
Okay. All
that's
right.
fine.
You hear me now?
I
Yes.
can.
Yep,
Microphones was a little high for a while.
that's okay.
It takes me a while to get up to it.
It's not a Verizon commercial.
Thank you very much. So my name is Frank Fitzgerald. I'm an attorney with offices at 46 Center Square in town. I'm here representing the developer, East Long Meadow redevelopers. We're here to present a new format for the redevelopment of the long vacant property and building at 330 Chestnut Street. This project has been thoughtfully designed to meet both operational efficiency and compliance with all applicable zoning, environmental, and safety regulations. Although we believe that the prior proposal met all appropriate criteria for approval of the proposed warehouse, what we're presenting this evening is a smaller project with more open space and visual barriers to the operations. This new layout reduces the building's total square footage by approximately 100,000 square feet. A warehouse development on this site is an as-of-right use and justifies site plan approval subject to reasonable conditions. The proposed development fully complies with all applicable zoning, density, and setback requirements, and as such warrants site plan approval. We request that the board approve the site plan review. You will see that the new design and layout addresses many of the concerns expressed by the board in the permitting process with regard to size, open space, traffic concerns, and neighborhood issues. Although at this time, tenants have not been identified, obviously, all tenants occupying the site would have to be uses authorized in this zone. I would like to now introduce our engineer, Rob Levesque, and traffic consultant, Jason Adams. As you can see, you will see from their presentation that the new plan is professionally engineered and is accompanied by a comprehensive traffic study. Rob?
He couldn't tell which one I was.
The same.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Rob Levesque from our Levesque Associates. Here this evening with me is Rebecca Lee, also from our office. She's a professional engineer with our office. So we're going to be handling the site planning aspects of the presentation this evening, and then Jason will get into the traffic study. Jason is a traffic engineer from Baldwin Associates.
Louder.
Okay, that better? Thank you. So what you have before you this evening is, this is the existing conditions plan of the site. This is the full set of site documents that details all of the design related to the layout, grading, drainage, stormwater, and associated detailing for the site improvements for the selected property. This is the existing conditions plan. So as you're looking at this plan, this is the existing footprint of. There's also a significant parking area utilizing most of the site as it sits now. It's about 500 and something, 530,000 square foot existing building. What we're proposing is to utilize the site by demolishing the existing building and creating 4 state-of-the-art warehouse buildings. These buildings would be 1, 2, 3, and 4 as I present them. Chestnut Street is to the north or the top of my plan. This is Chestnut Street here. The large wetland resource area off the left side or west side. We are orienting all of the parking so that passenger car parking is towards Chestnut Street and towards the south to the abutting properties. All of the internal workings are sort of back of house type of use related to these warehouses. Loading docks, access doors, all of that, trailer storage, etc., is all in the interior. This was done to basically eliminate any sort of views of the use itself. So back of house, again, is hidden within the buildings. We have architectural plans that will be happy to.
The board can't see it.
Yeah, we gotta be,
You got to put it this way. You got to see it.
We can see it. We can see it.
You can see it?
yeah, we'll be all right here.
Okay.
No, sorry about the noise. So the architectural plans detail each at a vantage point of the building to give you some perspective. This is a concept view at the Chestnut Street entry. So what you would see, so the passenger car park in front, again, another bird's eye view at the Chestnut Street entry. Another concept view, typical building elevation. So this is, again, towards the building itself. So all back of the house uses would be here, would be loading docks and parking for the trucks. So I'll give you some specifics on the details of the new. So we have 138 parking spaces located in here. We originally in the 122 loading docks, we reduced that in consultation with the planning department. They requested additional green space, open space to meet specific internal parking requirements regarding landscaping. So a lot of the green space we see that one reduced the number of not only trailer parking spaces, loading docks. We've got 108 loading docks. We have at-grade drive-up doors that are 8 total. These buildings ranges in square foot, 92,000 square feet to 100,000 square feet. Access is off of, as mentioned, off of Chestnut Street. There's 2 full-service access points off of Chestnut. Jason will get into the details, certainly answer any questions you have related to the site plans, grading, drainage, erosion controls, on-site stormwater. That's all been accommodated, looked at specifically. There are sets of regulations that regulate those items, and be happy to answer and address any questions you may have after the presentation, respectfully through the chair. Okay, with the chair, I just refer to Jason Adams to talk about traffic. Thank you. Do you want to use that microphone? So,
I think this should work better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good evening, for the record, Jason Adams with.
Shut it off. It's that, turn that one off.
Jason Adams with.
It's off,
Oh.
but I'll move it over there.
Right now. Stand up.
Who are you? But move away from maybe this thing.
Move away from the front one. There you go.
Sure. It's all right. Jason Adams with Bowman Consulting. I am a registered professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts. We were hired to review the traffic impacts of the proposed project. We had previously worked on the previous iteration of the project as well. So we completed a traffic impact study, which has been submitted to the town. We completed all new traffic counts, traffic analysis, and the new study as part of this project. So I'll just walk you through the methodology briefly, and then again, similar to Rob, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. We conducted new traffic volume counts in June of this year during the weekday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and weekday afternoon, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. peak periods. We looked at a study area that was very similar to the previous iteration that had gone through a couple rounds of peer review. We'd had some conversations with the town to cement that. So we looked at the signalized intersection of Chestnut Street and Shaker Road to the east, the 2 project site driveways that Rob just described briefly. And then to the west, the signalized intersection of Chestnut Street with Dwight Road. And then just to the north of that, the Dwight Road signal with Maple Street, William Street. Those existing traffic volumes were forecasted out to the future year of 2032. Following Mass DOT guidance, we again discussed with both the town and Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to understand appropriate background growth and other developments to include in those future traffic volumes. We completed a trip generation assessment using data published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers. The previous study had been completed using the warehouse land use code. This study could theoretically be completed using the warehouse land use code, which would essentially result in a 15 to 20% reduction over what we had previously shown. But we wanted to take a bit more of a conservative approach to how we analyze the vehicle trips. So we took the approach of analyzing 2 of the buildings as warehouse, and then 2 of the buildings as general light industrial. So they have slightly different trip, passenger car and heavy vehicle trip distributions. And we forecasted those vehicle trips onto the study area roadways and intersections using a review of existing traffic patterns, journey to work data, as well as a review of the regional trucking network. So we completed a trip distribution for both passenger cars and heavy vehicles. Next in our study, we reviewed the capacity analysis completed using the Synchro software, and that essentially allows us to understand if there's an impact caused by the project at any study area intersection. So our analysis shows that there's not a significant impact caused in any of the study area intersections by the project. But as part of our review and as part of the project, we would suggest signal timing changes at the signalized intersection of Chestnut Street with Shaker Road just to optimize those timings and offset some of the project. Overall, based on our review, we feel as though the project site has an appropriate build program to fit within the zoned area here along Chestnut Street. Turn it back to you.
Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have any other presenters?
Fine.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, well, before you go, so I'm gonna ask the board if there are any specific questions before they step down. Well, I will. So, can you give us a percentage of, truck traffic as it leaves the site? How many will go down toward, Enfield? How many is anticipated to go up Chestnut Street? How many is anticipated to go to the Rotary? And how many will go back through Long Meadow on Converse Street? A percentage in each one would be good.
Just for the truck traffic.
Truck traffic.
So we would expect about 50% of the trucks to turn left out of the site, about 50% of the trucks to turn right out of the site. We really wouldn't expect that many of the trucks at all are going to go through the Rotary, just because of existing traffic conditions up there. So, you know, from there, at the intersection of Chestnut Street and Shaker, we'd probably expect about 30% to turn right to head south on Shaker and about 20% to continue to the east. Heading to the west, we'd probably expect about 40% of the truck trips to continue north on Dwight Road and about 10% probably to head somewhere in the vicinity of William Street.
So would those percentages correlate to those that are coming to the site as well?
Correct.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Sure. Questions?
There's a few other things I want to mention too, just in relation to the petition. So one thing to keep note of, the applicant does have to get approval from the Conservation Commission after this hearing to either amend their notice of intent or to apply for a new one because the site is different from what it was before. The applicant also needs to get a stormwater management permit awarded to them from the Department of Public Works because of the size of the building and the amount of stormwater that's going to be generated. There is one request for a zoning waiver in this petition, and that pertains to the landscape requirement of needing 12% of the total parking and circulation areas devoted to landscaping. The applicant was only able to provide 11, but the board does have that authority in their power to grant that waiver, and that's listed as an action item later on during the hearing. And lastly, I think the board should consider discussing with the applicants if they feel any sort of truck turning study is going to be necessary in this situation. And the reason why I bring it up is because there were some concerns brought up at the last conversations at the public hearings about this specific site. So, Mr. Chair, those are all the concerns I had, comments I wanted to bring up. So I'll pass the mic back towards.
Now, before you do it, were there comments from town departments?
Yep, so
You want to read
comments that I told you,
then?
so the two comments I brought up are actually from other departments. So the Department of Public Works did bring up the need for the stormwater permit. And then conservation is within my own department. And I had mentioned to you verbally that the order of conditions or the intents could be amended no matter what. As for the truck turning or analysis or maybe having a graphic, that is something that I flagged during my review of this petition. That's something that the board might want to consider as an option when further investigating this site. Obviously, that is at the discretion of the board. As staff, I'm just bringing it up to consider as an option. And yeah, Mr. Chair, that's pretty much all I had, aside from those comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman? There's one item to our presentation we'd like to share. There were some videos that during the traffic study that Bowman Associates was able to capture. We do have that video. We have provided a USB drive also to your planner. If it's okay, we'd like to share it on that screen. I believe we're able to do so. If that is okay through the chair.
Behind us.
So Mr. in the traffic folder?
Yeah, it's just opening. I just clicked on it, it's still opening. Okay. It's a PowerPoint document?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a video attached to it that you guys want to play?
The videos are in
Okay.
PowerPoint.
So keep in mind, there's no,
I have it on my computer.
yeah, do you
too.
want to take over and connect your yours? Yeah, no problem.
Well, tee up the discussion.
Yeah, I can give a little bit of an introduction here. So when we were completing our traffic volume counts, we did those through video, which is a common practice. Setting up a video for a finite amount of time. In this case, we looked at, again, the weekday morning and weekday afternoon peak periods, knowing that truck turning was a large focus of both our project operations as well as town concerns. We did look through that video to understand how trucks are making those turns at the signalized intersection of Chestnut Street and Shaker. So situated in the top right corner, that is Chestnut Street heading from the project site. So heading eastbound towards Shaker Road, and this red truck that you can see in the top right corner will be making a right-hand turn to head south on Shaker Road. What you can see is the white car in the top left corner. That is a car waiting to head northbound. So this truck is completing the right turn movement with a vehicle in the opposite lane. So as in the truck has only the pavement to operate on. And if we can play the video, you'll see the truck cleanly make this right turn, which I know is a big concern. And again, is a big focal point for our operations as well.
I need the other computer up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share that?
I'll work on my computer. I don't need the other computer plugged into the play button. Computer.
Yeah, he hit it. It's not playing.
Okay.
Hey, if you want to bring up the other computer, we can get into here. We can start playing it right now.
While the IT team, this isn't working.
It takes a minute.
Talk real
There you go.
All right, while the IT team gets going. So I know that there are, no businesses identified yet for each building. Could you give us an estimate on what you believe employment levels would be there? Can you also identify what the potential building value would be for tax reasons for the town? So can you answer those two questions?
I would like to ask,
Closer.
I'd like to ask Mr. Marino to come up and answer those questions if you would.
Yeah.
Mic's off. I can't hear you. The mic's off.
Oh, he's asked Mr. Marino to come up and address those questions. The questions are, what's the potential total employment levels there? And what are the value of the properties after constructed for real estate tax reasons?
As far as employment, obviously it depends on who the user is, how automated they are or not. So that's difficult for me to answer.
Can't hear you.
I said the answer about how many employees is difficult because it really depends on what business occupies the space. Is it some light industrial with some manufacturing? Is it office? It could be a mixture. And it could change over. So, I don't have an answer with any authority, Mr. Chairman, that I could provide.
Yep.
We could look into averages.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay.
But I wasn't prepared to answer that question, so I apologize.
What about potential value of properties as built out, buildings as built out?
I mean, from a cost standpoint,
For the third time, I'm gonna ask this, so I want everyone to hear. The question is, what would be the total value of the built out property, including buildings, if it's developed?
is that a cost or a?
So for property tax valuation purposes, is it $10 million of buildings, $20 million, $30 million of buildings?
Probably over 40.
$40 million, approximate.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, thanks. Do we have our IT fixed?
Almost.
Russ? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So
Yes.
I would like to see a truck coming west on Shaker Road and turning south on Chestnut Street with a car at the stop line going north on Chestnut Street. I've watched a lot of trucks have a hard time making that turn. And maybe a suggestion would be to push the stop line for the cars coming north on Chestnut Street more towards the south. So it gives a larger radius for the trucks to take a left on Chestnut Street and head to the facility.
If I could just respond, trucks to and from this facility would not be coming westbound and turning left to go south. Those would be coming away from our site. So our site is concerned with trucks heading eastbound from the site or trucks heading westbound away from the intersection.
Why wouldn't the truck be coming up Shaker Road from Route 91 and taking a left on Chestnut Street and then heading into the facility? And that's going to happen, and it does happen because I've watched it happen. And it causes a problem for the people at the stoplight that want to go north on Chestnut Street at the intersection. So what I'm saying is if you took the stop line and pushed it down the road a little bit, it'll give a lot more turning radius for the particularly long 48 footers to take a left-hand turn and head towards the facility. Because there will be traffic going both ways on Shaker Road.
Correct. We do have that. I thought you were, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying from Chestnut to Shaker, but from Shaker turning left to Chestnut, we have a video of that as well.
Okay.
If we can get this going, but we do have video of a tractor trailer leading that movement today. So again, here is the eastbound red truck turning right to head south on Shaker.
I'm not sure.
Civil.
On the other screen now.
Okay, you go.
Folks, we're gonna continue. And when you finally figure it out, we'll run it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Fitzgerald, anything else? Any board members have any further questions?
Nope.
Mr. Terrell?
Sorry. Looking at the site plan, what runs between the buildings? Maybe that's a question for you. What separates the buildings down the middle? Is that green space?
Green space.
Green space, okay. And is the thought, so it's gonna be a two-way driveway around the outside of the building, looks like. Is that enough clearance for everything to happen? Again, it's deceiving looking at the plan, but is that enough space?
Yes, yep.
Speaking of turning.
Simple width, all the radii meet the requirements. So yeah, the idea would be that you can loop through the site in either direction, providing, ample opportunity for the trucks to get into that internal area there.
And is that 60 feet through the middle? Is that enough for trucks to back in and out of?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe one for the traffic engineer. This is going to come up at the rail trail. Has there been any thought with the statistics adding on the proximity of the rail trail to the intersection, how that may affect things, stopping on busy days, sunny afternoons, things like that?
We certainly account for the rail trail within our overall study area. Our focus is to understand where the trucks and the passenger cars expect to travel to and from the site. At the rail trail, those vehicles would be on Chestnut Street, depending on if they're coming to or going away from the site. So it's not a significant increase in the number of vehicle trips. We wouldn't expect there to be really any change between the interaction of Chestnut Street and the rail trail as a result of this project.
Do you look at congestion at all? If there's multiple stops for people to cross, things like that, or is that not outside the scope?
In the sense that we do evaluate things like the delay experienced at the intersection. So both at the project site driveways for vehicles entering and exiting the site, those were all determined to be of adequate and acceptable times. And then here at, for example, the intersection of Chestnut and Shaker and the other intersections in our study, we look at the difference of those operations with and without the project in place, and don't see there to be a significant difference. So I don't know if we want to go back to this, but this is that northbound left turn happening to then go westbound towards the site. And again, there are vehicles in that turn lane, so the margin for error is really as small as it could be in an existing condition. Again, there's the white truck heading northbound, turning left to go towards the site.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir.
Just by way of, as I mentioned previously, this is as a right use, subject to.
Louder into that.
Subject to the imposition of reasonable conditions, and obviously one of those conditions could well be a future traffic study to make sure that it's not the records that are made here today are accurate.
Thank you. All right, as promised, if there are any attorneys in the room who are representing clients and wish to come forward, express what their legal points are, please do that.
Looks like I'm the only lawyer.
No.
Oh, are there more? Oh, Judge, you're a lawyer too. I'm sorry. I'll defer to
Michael, let's sit down
and talk.
Do your thing.
All right. Let me start. First of all, this is the first that I've seen or heard of the videos. So we need to get, please, they're certainly public record, the complete video. I got to FedEx it to our traffic engineer, Bob Michaud, and he needs to do a peer review. One thing that I've discussed with him in the past is there are 4 turns there. In other words, you only saw 2, and I think even the video shows how close that intersection is. And one thing I've learned in other situations from Mr. Michaud is that depends a great deal on the experience and skill. And what you saw right there were 2 obviously very experienced truck drivers who made a very close turn with no margin for error. And this is certainly a matter for expertise. And so I appreciate your comment about continuing the hearing, because we do need to have our traffic engineer, Bob Michaud at MDM Consultants, basically look not just at what's been selected, but hopefully all the video. Also,
Michael, would you just, for the crowd, can you introduce yourself?
oh, I'm sorry.
And also who you might be representing.
I'm sorry. I was trying to be as quick as I could. I forgot the basics. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I'm Michael Pill, and I represent the Fields at Chestnut Condominium. And thank you for the reminder. Okay. And I will find out how fast he can get that done. Also, the last time around, there was testimony from one resident, and you may recall, she described how turning from from Chestnut, making a left turn onto Benton, she was terrified by a truck driver blowing his air horn at her because he could not make the turn from Benton onto Shaker without crossing the center line. So what I can see now, and it's been ignored certainly by the applicant, is I'm going to ask Mr. Michaud to do an auto turn analysis of the Benton and the Shaker, I'm sorry, the Benton and the Chestnut intersection, just like he did previously for the Shaker and the Chestnut intersection. And I will also ask him for his comments on the video. And with respect to the traffic study, I think the photos make it clear. And I just saw the same thing down at Bradley a couple of days ago. This is what's called a high cube warehouse. It's not the ITE categories that the engineer used. And I think Mr. Michaud pointed that out. It's not 150. It's not, you know, the other use that Mr. Adams mentioned. It's a high cube warehouse, ITE 156, which is substantially more truck traffic. And I believe that's in his prior studies. I'm certainly going to email to him first thing tomorrow. And I'm hoping either the applicant or your planner can get to me that USB drive. I don't know if you could copy it tonight.
Address the board.
I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Okay, then I'd ask the board if you could, and through the board, I'd also ask the applicant, the faster they can get that information. And for example, if the applicant wants to do us the courtesy of FedExing it direct to Mr. Michaud or providing it to him any other way, they've got his contact information because they've got the same studies you've got from him. The faster he can get it, and I will find out, and I will let the board know through Mr. Wachilla. Am I pronouncing that? With a name like Pill, I try to be very careful. I will let him know as quick as I can how fast we can get that done. I also want Mr. Michaud to do a peer review, I think focusing on the ITE categories, because I think that this time, as in the past, is the fundamental flaw and the fundamental error in the traffic study. I'm trying to go through it as expeditiously as I possibly can. To respond briefly to Attorney Fitzgerald, with respect to the use by right, this time as last time, there are a couple of significant issues that the applicant has never addressed. One is, it says wholesale operations warehouse. Wholesale means you can only make deliveries to retail customers. And that is a use limitation that must be satisfied. And I would respect if, for example, you decide to approve it, that must be a condition. And I suppose we can argue about what that means, but that might be something for a later day. The other issue, and I've also brought it up in the memorandum I submitted to you, is the separate section for the industrial garden park talks about objectionable, and admittedly, that's an issue lawyers could debate about, but it lists other criteria that I don't think the applicant has addressed. I think they've addressed the ones in the site plan section, but not in the separate section that deals with industrial garden park. And let me take a breath and look at my notes, and I'll be as expeditious as I can. And I do want to thank the chair for the ground rules you laid down. Like you all, I've sat through a lot of hearings where we all had to stay up late and listen to a lot of stuff that wasn't relevant. So thank you so much for that. And I will try to heed that, okay? And hopefully I'm not talking too fast, but I'm trying to, get as much as I can in as fast as I can. I think that, and, I realized I sent you a lot of paper. There was a lot more last time, and I tried to focus on what I thought were the two memoranda with the key attachments. And I also copied the applicant's lawyers, of course, and I'm assuming and hoping they forwarded that on, that it got to Mr. Levesque and Mr. Adams. I'm sure they would have done that. And realize it's a lot of reading, and all I can do is whatever you decide. Thank you all so much for your service. I mean, all of us out here are getting paid, and you all are here out of the spirit of public service. And I think you all need to be thanked basically for putting up with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pill.
The final thing is, not sure we can do that in 2 weeks. I've got to talk to Michaud. We'll get it done just as fast as we can. And I guess I would ask Rumpf, if you could, I'm not sure, I'll leave it to the chair. I know whatever you decide, you're all going to be as fair as you can, and I'll leave it to you to decide what's the best way. And I'm assuming you may also want to do your own peer review traffic study. Okay, that hopefully will include intersection analysis at both Shaker and Benton. And now I'll be quiet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So there were no other attorneys here representing clients, Mayor Hurley?
I'll be anything but late.
Sorry about that.
Well, we're going to open it to the public. So I guess you could.
I'm representing some of my neighbors who can't be here tonight as an attorney, but I'm also representing myself.
I would never turn down Mayor Hurley.
Thank you.
It makes you up very well.
Thank you. So, through the chair, I have.
To speak very loudly into that.
Right. Thank you very much. My name is Attorney Mary Hurley. I have offices down at the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I'm here representing myself as a landowner at Fields of Chestnut, and I'm also representing some of my fellow landowners or unit owners there as well who couldn't be here tonight. And I would like to first, through the chair, ask if you would ask the traffic engineer. He talked in terms of percentages. If he's talking a percentage of 50 trucks a day, that's one thing. If he's talking in terms of 150 or 200 trucks a day, that's another story. So if you could ask for some more clarification on that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. Secondly, the issues relative to traffic on Chestnut Street, I think is key. And the points that were raised the last time around about coming from Chestnut or the Fields of Chestnut down Chestnut Street to what's the name of that street? The one Benton. Is almost nearly impossible if you've got a truck of the size that we saw in the video tonight coming the other way. In addition, this seems to be a regifting of the original plan. Not in terms of the wrapping that it's in, but in terms of exactly what they've done to the original plan, modified it, but you still have the same types of issues. The only thing that I see that's any better is the fact that the trucks would be in the middle, but talking at 100, and I think it was 28, they said, loading docks. And I'm not naive enough to think that that is 120 trucks a day to load and unload. So I'd like to see some significant numbers, which can make a significant difference in the amount of traffic that we're talking. And that's really the issue in terms of quality of life, in terms of traffic safety, and in terms of the ability to get in and out of all the streets near where, off of Chestnut, whether it's Marshall or any of the other side streets or any of the other businesses. So to that extent, they can't tell us the key question in terms of numbers on what's going in those buildings. And I understand that, but I think there has to be some kind of a limitation as to what types of uses can be made. And are we talking a distribution center that's going to have not only the big trucks, but also the little trucks that are coming out of there as well? And was that taken into consideration by the traffic engineer? Those are some of the questions that I think need to be answered before anybody can say this is okay or it's disaster. I have the greatest respect for all of you for taking your time. There have been enough boards, commissions, and whatever else that I've been on that I know the amount of time that you put into it. And I want to thank you on behalf of my fellow residents. And I know that you're going to do the best job you can. So it's quality of life. It's a safety issue in terms of the traffic. And unless they can give you numbers, 50%, 30%, or 10% of 20 or 50 or 200 or 250 or 300 makes all the difference in the world. And they didn't say that. So, whatever use is made of that land, it's got to take that into consideration. To get out of Chestnut, Fields of Chestnut now, there's one entrance, one exit, the same way onto Chestnut Street. And I would say out of the number of times that I travel in and out of there, only on very off hours can I get in and out. If it's in the morning or if it's at night after 4 o'clock, forget it. You got to wait and wait and wait. And some people, like including myself, I use Marshall Street when I'm coming from the center of East Long Meadow. And they've got a mirror there to let you know what traffic's coming. But the mirror only goes one way. If you've got a truck coming the other way, I think we should have another mirror.
Good suggestion. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on this matter? Please step forward.
Think about my name?
Sure.
James Whalen,
Your address, please.
33 Fields Drive.
Okay.
I'm a civil engineer. Tired. With respect to the study, my main question, and I was trying to get your attention, which I knew was out of line, was how many? How many trucks? They were saying 20 go this way, 40 go this way. And also in the videos they showed, the truck made the turn, but there was an awful lot of traffic at every one of those videos that showed the traffic turning. One question was asked with respect to the study as to how many, I think you asked it, how many employment are we going to get? How much employment will we get? They couldn't answer the question. How can the building be designed if you don't know how many people are going to work there so you can provide parking spaces? If there's more people than parking spaces, are they going to park across the street or along Chestnut Street? I don't understand how you can say you don't know how many people are expected to live there, to work there, excuse me. Isn't that a prerequisite of designing a building? How many people are going to work there?
I don't know the answer to that.
I believe there was a statement that said that there's 198 parking spots. Is that correct?
No, I think it's more than that.
298?
398.
398.
398.
So there's 398 parking spaces allocated for the employees.
Plus 8 handicap.
398.
So there'll be 398 people working there. If it's run to full capacity and they're trying to make money on running the deal.
So I'm not going to ask the engineers to address every question this evening. So what we will do, and they will do, is they will follow up. There will be another meeting. They will review the questions that have been asked, and they will come back with the information that people are requesting.
Perfect.
Because we would be here until 4 o'clock in the morning if.
Okay, I would ask
that
they modify the drawing to show arrows, turns, how many anticipated turns in each direction every day of the week. Because, as I said, those trucks made the turn in the video, but there was an awful lot of cars. So if you're going to double or triple the number of trucks and add 4 times as many cars, it's not going to be as easy to make those turns. Thank you.
We did. Yeah. And sign it, but there's no pen.
I'll leave it there.
All right, thanks. So John Power, 17 Broadleaf Circle in the fields at Chestnut. All right, couple of things that I took note of during the presentation by the developer. They indicated 8 loading docks in the presentation. Is that correct?
Address the chair.
Yet all of the online documentation that I went through today shows 122. I would ask that
from my memory, they said 122.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was taken aback by the 108.
Okay.
If that's a change, I'd ask that they update the information available to the public on the website.
Yep.
Also, the traffic study referenced a number of appendices, none of which were available online. So I would ask that the traffic study appendices also be posted online so that they can be subject to public review before.
Well, thank you for raising that. So, Mr. Wachilla, why don't you explain to everyone where they can find all these documents for review?
Absolutely. So we have a physical copy of the 300-page traffic study that was too large to fit on the town's website. Because when you upload files on the town's website, there's a certain size you can't go over. So in order to have it available in the public portion facing the website, I had to reduce the file size to just the summary and all the relevant information and exclude the appendices. But for folks who want the appendices printed and given to them, they can come to my office, or I could try to email it to you in a separate Google Cloud file link is the only way I can transport it to somebody. Fortunately, the file size is too large to have all together.
Even if you was separated as Appendix A, B, E.
I could do that, and I can make that available to folks who want a copy of it.
Because if they were small enough, then they could go on to the town website.
Yeah, no, we could definitely do that.
Okay, thank you. That was all I had.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else like to be heard on this matter?
Just,
We'll let people go first.
okay, sorry.
I asked, he said yes.
Hi.
My name is Mike Corrigan, and I'm a resident of the fields in Chestnut. And when I was listening to the traffic study, they said they were basing two buildings as being warehouses. On the proposal, are there only 2 warehouses? Is that the limit, or could all 4 buildings be warehouses? Because it seems to me that they were taking 50% of 2 buildings and saying it's not an impact. At 50% of 4 buildings, is there an impact on traffic and on left turns? And how many, I will reiterate what the previous people said about how many trucks is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Paul Gagliarducci. I live at 35 Fields Drive. I have a question for the board. I may be wrong on this, but so if you can clarify it for me, I'd be happy. During the first presentation, things ended up in court. And I believe the fire department chief, the police department chief, and the head of the DPW all spoke with their concerns about the project. And because of some irregularities with the minutes or with the agenda, the judge did not allow those to be part of the public record. So my question to the board is, are you going to be asking those people to come speak again and state their concerns so it can go on the record?
I'm glad you brought that up because there's a real fallacy or there's a real miscommunication from someone who wrote a letter in the reminder and got everyone really wound up. So to go back to the original plan, so this board in 2023, minus Mr. Fonseca and Mr. Terrell,
voted to approve this project with restrictions on what could go through the corner or go through the intersection of Shaker and Chestnut. We were requiring that when they came out of the site, they had to take a right, and then they would go down, essentially go down Shaker. And then we were requiring them to go down Benton to, from Long Meadow to go down Benton and then hang a left on the street where the post office is. So essentially, we were trying to avoid the residential areas from taking an impact. What happened is the town then requested this board to reconsider that because the police chief, fire chief, and DPW felt that that would really make a negative impact, a more negative impact on that intersection. So when they spoke about the proposed changes that this board wanted on the flow of the traffic. So they were opining to the changes that we proposed, and they indicated that, in their opinion, that created more problems than what existed prior to this proposal. So if I'm not mistaken, their original opinions on this proposal or on the former proposal is they had no comments regarding any issues associated with traffic. That was, and I see Mr. Bill shaking his head and agreeing with me. So to say that the police chief and the fire chief and so forth had issues with the traffic, with the original proposal is incorrect.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anyone else like to be heard on this matter?
Mr. Chair,
There
we have attendees on Zoom that have their hands raised. Okay.
Next one. Hi.
I'm not an expert in anything. My name is Janet Atkinson Stacy. I live at 36 Chestnut Street. And I will bypass my comments in light of what you said about community spirit and the importance of that. I too would like to see housing in that area, but and I feel like the traffic has already been pretty well covered, with the one comment that I do think there's a domino effect when people try to avoid increased truck traffic of increasing the traffic in the side streets and the neighborhoods around that as well, so that it isn't just the main streets that will be affected. I don't think. I don't have videos and traffic expert numbers to talk about that, but that's only a kind of common sense that as people try to avoid the trucks, they would use the side streets and increase the traffic in some of those smaller neighborhoods around Chestnut Street as well. But I am an expert walker. I walk almost daily. We have a lack of adequate sidewalks in East Long Meadow. And we in fact had a fatality of a walker right in front of our house on Chestnut Street quite a few years ago, which was very devastating for our children especially, who saw that. So I have many challenges with walking. I was thrilled with the bike trail. I thought that was a great, safe alternative for myself, for people with young children who are teaching them how to ride bikes, for people who like to walk their dogs. A safe alternative that didn't involve putting sidewalks everywhere in the town. And I can't see, again, I don't have numbers, but I cannot see how this will not impact that. I walk on that bike trail a lot. People often don't stop. Even with the flashing lights, I've had trucks go through, I've had cars go through with the lights flashing and me walking, and I just can't imagine that it's not a significantly increased safety concern. I don't know how anyone could study that, and but walking on it, I know it. I know that the trucks and cars go through it, and I've seen people yell at the people that go through, the walkers yelling at the people that go through, and it would just that increased truck traffic would significantly impact that. Both if they go around on the post office one, if they go down that street where the post office is, as you said, there's the crossing there as well as the one on Chestnuts. That's it.
Thank you. So we're going to go to a couple people on Zoom if we could. They've been waiting for a bit. So
Hi, this is Jack Moore, and I live at 13 Fields Drive. I usually attend these meetings in person. This evening I could not do that. I apologize. I have a couple of issues with the traffic study, and based on my experience also, I've been traveling the last several years back and forth to Boston. And Google Maps, invariably on my trip home, takes me down Route 84, coming up 220, which would put the trucks coming down Chestnut Street from Summers Road and going through Chestnut and Prospect also. Two intersections which are Chestnut and Prospect, we all know it's a very dangerous intersection. It's labeled that way by the town. That should be included in the traffic study, no question in my mind about that. I don't know how the board feels, but I think the traffic study has bypassed several critical areas in their study. I would suggest they look at Chestnut and Prospect, Chestnut and Summers, and Pleasant into the Rotary. Those are going to be all traffic areas that are going to be inundated by truck traffic, as Google Maps or Wave will bring them on those roads whenever there's a problem on Mass Turnpike, 291 or 91. So the question I have for everybody, we have probably approximately a 14% increase in parking spaces between the truck, the docks, and vehicle parking. Yet they're predicting a decrease from the original estimate in total traffic, cars and trucks. I worked in business for a long time. If I was going to spend 14% more on something, I better have an increase in productivity, which would mean an increase in traffic, not a decrease. So again, that's all I have at this time. I want to thank the board. They've been very patient with me over the years, and I appreciate their job they're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll bring in the next person. That's it? Okay.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Betty Jane Borden, and I live at 44 Fields Drive. I have one question for one of the speakers that spoke earlier about percentages of cars which would go each way, and 0 would go through the center, which we know is the correct answer. But when I use my GPS and I want to go to Mass Pike, it takes me right through the center. If you have drivers who are not from this area and don't understand about the Rotary, I foresee that as a real problem. And I have no idea what those percentages were based on.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
So thank you for raising that issue. So before you leave, okay. So, in anticipation of this hearing, I asked a number of questions of the town manager and our planner. And one of them was, what is the authority of the planning board as it relates to traffic and being able to limit types of vehicles to go on different streets in town? And the response that I received was that is kind of considered what they refer to as a rule of the road. And rules of the road in East Long Meadow are under the purview of the town council. So if there was an initiative to limit, the size of a vehicle on a certain street, that is not a planning board purview. That falls under the purview of the town council. So just to let people know that. Okay. Anyone else like to be heard on this matter? Then you. Okay.
Hi, Archie Bird, 16 Fields Drive. I'm not an expert on anything either, but I'm a little confused about something. I'm just curious. I don't understand how there could be predictions on the traffic and the number of trucks turning which directions if there's not any clarity on what the use of these buildings is going to be. Because I've heard warehouses, light industrial, office.
So one thing that people should do is familiarize themselves, I think I said that right, with the uses that are allowed in the industrial garden park district. If you went to the town ordinances, you would see the uses that are allowed in this district. And if this were to be approved, any of those uses that are in the industrial garden park that are allowed could go into that building.
Right, but I guess my question is, how are they determining what are they basing the traffic studies on if they don't know what the use is gonna be? That's.
Fair point. Yep, fair point.
And my other question is, I know we're not supposed to talk about hours of operation, but I like the way that they've put the trucks inside the buildings, like in the center portion. If the trucks are backing up and beeping all night long, it's still gonna affect the neighbors in Great Woods and the fields. And I'm wondering if there's any way that they could add some kind of sound barriers to the outside of that inside portion. So those are my main questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kept you waiting, sorry.
Ellie Schumann. I live at 16 Bella Vista Drive. I'm sort of seconding her last comment. In a project like this, are there restrictions or covenants about hours of operation or days of the week? Would this be a Monday through Friday? And I know no one may know that because there are no businesses there yet, but
yeah.
I would be curious, is that legislated or anything?
I'm gonna let our planner discuss that. Yeah.
It's a very good question. Thank you for bringing that up. So in terms of what is going on tonight for this public hearing, the planning board is reviewing the development of the buildings and the site and the construction of the site. So hours of operation for any businesses that go in the building would happen during the respective public hearings, if applicable, for that specific business later on. Say if they have a business that wants to go into one of those buildings that requires a special permit, they have to come back to this board for a special permit hearing. And then that's when the hours of operation would be hashed out at that public hearing. There's also specific businesses that could go in here too, that are allowed as of right. And of course, that would not require a planning board hearing. And obviously folks can find this information out in our zoning ordinance in the use table, which is table 3-1. And if you go to where it says industrial garden park, those are the types of things that could go or could not go in these buildings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else like to?
Got a guy over there.
Yep. Sure.
Hello, my name is Sean Burnham. I live at 82 Lee Street. My wife and I have lived here for a few years now and really enjoy East Longmeadow. It is not lost on me that you've explained, as the previous folks have explained in the last meetings, earlier, that this board legally isn't, determining what is or what isn't allowed use of this space. I understand all that. So I guess I'm just offering my hope as an East Longmeadow resident, as many people have expressed, and again, I'm not an expert either, but I sort of look at it as a smell test. I look at what it would look like to see tractor trailer trucks going up and down Pease Road. I look at what it would look like to have tractor trailer trucks going through the intersections at Prospect and Pease. I look at it's incomprehensible to me to see tractor trailer trucks go through the East Longmeadow Rotary. No matter what traffic study someone shows, I just can't see it. So with all that said, I guess my hope, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to express this, but I'm going to, is that this board, in whatever authority it does have to restrict the development of this property, takes all that into consideration and approaches the situation from a what possibly can we do to protect East Longmeadow from this development versus, allowing the development.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to take not a break, but I'll get to you, man. We will, I think there have been enough questions about traffic counts and the like. So if we could spend 5 or 6 minutes with the developers' representatives to maybe answer some of those. Then we'll go back to public.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before Jason gets into the traffic details, there's just a couple items I'd like to clarify. The plans were submitted to the planning department and they were revised based on some comments from Mr. Wachilla, your planner. So some of the numbers related to loading docks, parking spaces, et cetera, have been slightly reduced because of the introduction of the green space. So some of those numbers, and before the next public hearing, I will go ahead and clarify those items so that that's clear for the board and clear for the general public.
Good. I've been doing my best to keep notes, so hopefully I can address a number of the comments here. And again, happy to get into more specifics as the board sees fit. I guess I'll start off with just the general methodology. This seems to be something that came up in terms of how do we project the number of vehicle trips associated with a development that we don't know the end user. It is certainly a challenge, and what my responsibility is as a professional engineer is to aggregate the information available to me, which is the size of the buildings, the allowable uses, the parking, the overall dynamic of the site, and to project as best I can, following industry standard, what could the potential be for passenger cars and heavy vehicles. Again, the previous iteration of this was a warehouse land use that has lower passenger vehicles, but a higher percentage of heavy vehicles. And we heard from the board and from the public that the number of heavy vehicles was of particular concern, but there also is a balance between the number of passenger cars and the number of heavy vehicles. In order to understand as best we can, given the information available, how both passenger cars and heavy vehicles could impact the site and the surrounding areas, we selected a methodology that took 50%, essentially 50% of the development as warehouse, a higher percentage of heavy vehicles, and 50% as general light industrial, a higher percentage of passenger cars, and blended those together to, again, as best we can, approximate a development that may or may not be higher in heavy vehicles or higher in passenger vehicles. Those are the numbers that we took. We presented in our traffic impact study a comparison if it was purely warehouse, so that that's available to the board and to the public. We then presented our blended rate, which we feel is a more accurate representation. Could it all be warehouse? Yes, that would be lower in passenger cars, slightly higher in trucks. Could it be some other blend? Of course. But we're doing our best within the available information. And hopefully that's appreciated, at least in the effort that we're making to, in this study, I think it was slightly misrepresented. This study actually analyzes the impacts of the project with a higher number of total vehicles than what the previous study did. We went above and beyond in terms of trying to understand, is this project going to have an impact that we should then mitigate? Okay. That was our approach from the project team from the start, and I do credit the development team. It's not the approach that every developer takes. Okay. During my presentation, I did leave off one key piece of mitigation. The project team is committed to evaluating the integrity of the pavement in the vicinity of the project site. We would undertake a monitoring program to understand if the project has any undue impacts to the pavement in the vicinity of the site, and would replace that as needed. So to the point of the truck deteriorating town roadways and infrastructure, we don't want that to happen either. That impacts our business as well. Unless there's further question, I'll get into just a couple of the specifics.
Mr. Chair, do you mind if I ask a question of the applicant?
Sure.
So one question I had was that I was looking through the traffic study and I noticed you put what's called level of service factor for the intersections they looked at. So when you get the moment, could you explain what that is to the folks in the audience and then describe the Shaker Road, Chestnut Street intersection and the impact of that if this development was to happen on that site and what you would do to mitigate that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So level of service is, in traffic engineering terms, a way that we can grade essentially as if you're receiving a report card in school, intersection operations. So it's on a letter grade from A being the best to F being the worst. Generally, level of service D or better is considered to be adequate, acceptable. It's been mentioned that there are a lot of vehicles on these roadways. We're not denying that. That's an existing condition. We're trying to understand how this project would impact those existing conditions. So when we complete our traffic analysis, we assign a letter grade to each of those movements at each intersection within the study. The intersection of Chestnut Street and Shaker Road currently operates at a level of service C. So it's pretty good. It's not the top operation, but I don't think anybody here would argue that it is. That's a level of service C during both the weekday morning peak hour and the weekday afternoon peak hour. That is what it is under existing conditions and into a build condition if this project was not built. So just the existing traffic volumes out there and natural growth in the area of the site. With this project during the weekday morning peak hour, that intersection is shown to continue to operate at level of service C overall. And during the weekday afternoon peak hour, we do show that intersection would deteriorate slightly from a level of service C to a level of service D. Once we see that, even though it's a level of service D, which is still, again, by Massachusetts standards, really anywhere, it's fine, it's adequate. That is what we want to make sure it's D or better as an overall intersection operation, but we would propose traffic signal timings to help improve that traffic signal.
All right, thank you.
And then I guess just maybe a couple more points if the chair would allow.
If they related to questions that were asked by people.
Yes.
Where to?
Yes. So within the traffic impact study, again, that is available online. And I think that separating out the appendix is great. And if you need any help with that, just let us know. We can do that as well. The traffic impact study does present the number of both passenger cars and heavy vehicles during both the weekday morning and weekday afternoon peak hour.
Just tell the public.
Sure.
What they were.
Yeah. So during both peak hours, weekday AM and weekday afternoon, using our approach and methodology, the truck traffic increase would be expected to be 1 or 2 vehicles from each direction.
I think people are more interested in knowing the total number of trucks in a day.
In a day. So in a day, the total number of truck increases would be about 95 to 100 entering and 95 to 100 exiting over the course of the 24 hours. So at a 50%, if you're looking at the number of trucks coming to and from the west, so taking a left out of the site over the course of a day, about 50. Entering the site from the west over the course of the day, about 50. And the same is true of the east. It's again, split about 50-50.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll reopen it to anyone who would like to be heard on this matter. I know there were a couple of people that wanted to get up and talk. Sam? Yep. And we did receive a lengthy email from a Rick Marble, so I just want to let him know that we did received it and it's part of the public record. Oh, you snuck in before that woman. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. My name is Lauren Life. I live at 36 Fields Drive in East Long Meadow. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for your service. I know it's a lot of work. I've sat on a board myself for many years. I think I'm the person you referred to when you said she saw a light flash before her, but I'm not going to go there, but I think I'm that person. My question to you is this. I am pretty much positive that I heard the fire chief say that they do not send fire trucks down Chestnut Street. So I appreciate your...
They do not send them through the intersection, is what he specifically said.
Okay, so that's even better in what I'm trying to get at. I look at a fire truck a lot like I look at a tractor trailer truck. And I fear for the safety of our community. And when I've had to make really tough decisions and I've had to read a lot of things like you do, I tend to go with my gut. And I respectfully ask you to do the same thing. Thank you.
So I just, before you leave, so we can't use our gut. Okay? We have to use those factors that are up there, just as a reminder.
I do understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
I'm sorry I jumped in front of this.
I'm Lynn Silverstein and I live at 59 Fields Drive. And I look at Chestnut Street and it's just a narrow little 2-lane street. And everybody who's spent winters in New England knows there's ice and snow. And a concern of mine is having large vehicles on that street during inclement weather.
Okay, thank you. The floor is open.
Yep.
Gentleman with the hat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You just let us know who you are.
Yes, I'm Dick Leopold. I live at 375 Chestnut Street. My concern has to do for not only those people on Chestnut Street, but especially also the fields of Chestnut. Has any study been done about the air quality that will be impacted if 50 or 100 or 150 trailer trucks transgress the
So for a little history here. So I mentioned earlier that initially this project had been approved, but at the last minute, we had made some changes to the traffic flow coming in and out, or primarily going out. So as part of that approval, there were something like, Cassie, correct me, but I think there were like 23 conditions that we put on. And one of them was completion of an air quality study to get a indicator on existing level, what it was anticipated to go up, and then also require, and we can still do this, and require air filtration systems so that when vehicles were idling, they would have to put, you know, their exhaust into these air filtration systems. So it is, this board can do something like this. And so we still might, but great question.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Alice and I live on St. Joseph's Drive. So I travel the length of Chestnut every day from top to bottom. My two main questions, like the gentleman said on Zoom earlier, Chestnut in Summers and Chestnut in Prospect. Are we going to look into the aspect of the trucks going up that way with those intersections? I know heading up Chestnut, turn left onto Summers to then get on St. Joseph's. I can be sitting there at 8 o'clock in the morning for a good 5-10 minutes trying to make a left-hand turn. Also going down Chestnut to make a right-hand turn onto Dwight at rush hour traffic in the morning. Again, it bottlenecks really bad. Are we going to look at that intersection as well with the traffic?
Okay. We will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, folks. Marilyn Richards, 342 Pinehurst Drive. In full disclosure, town councilor and former planning board member.
And chair.
I'm going to go historically back to when we developed the stores, the shopping center at the town center. At the time, we had no idea what the impact would be. The stores were empty. We knew that there were certain uses. How many trip generators would we have and all that sort of thing. And before the special permit was adopted, a mitigation plan was put in place. And that was adopted with the special permit. In the event things fell apart, in the event we had gridlock, in the event we had just people couldn't passing through the center, the mitigation plan could effectively kick in. It never happened. And it never happened because people tend to find their own way to navigate through something. And we still have gridlock now and then in the town center, but that's because all the school buses let out and you just have a lot of people going through at that moment in time, but generally it worked. With this situation, I've been sitting back there trying to figure out, how do we put in place a mitigation plan in the event all hell breaks loose when it's operational and we've got trucks everywhere? I don't know. I don't know what the uses are going to be. I just want to plant the seed, and maybe the traffic engineer could possibly help us with, what do you do if we get into a situation where it's not working? And so that's the seed I'm planting. That's all.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Page 137 Pease Road. In full disclosure, I am also a town councilor and a past planning board member and chairman. I know this is a new site plan, and at the last one, I brought up a couple thoughts to consider. And because this is new, I just want to bring them back to you. The first is at the bike trail. To put in or have them install a motion sensor instead of just the switch that's there. The motion sensor would automatically detect someone walking on the bike path and turn on the lights automatically. They have them in South Hadley, near the colleges, and they work extremely well. My concern is I drive through there now. A lot of people don't cross over to push the button. And with the heavy truck traffic, I just think it's something, a little bit of caution for very inexpensive money. The second thing, it's difficult to see on the plan, but one of the questions or one of the thoughts was to add shrubbery along the rail trail. I'm not sure if they did, if they didn't. I believe the last plan had a retaining wall there. And my thought is, just as if you're walking along the bike trail, this building is going to be extremely close, and some additional plant material would be nice in that area.
It would be nice if all the businesses along the rail trail put up nice shrubbery.
I would agree. And especially considering this is a brand new construction, this is the time to bring it up because the board has the authority to do it. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Page.
You need me to sign in?
Please do. Any other speakers? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is, excuse me, my name is Mark Sullivan. I live at 12 Clover Lane. And just to kind of go back a little bit here, I think the emphasis on the traffic issues have been focused on Chestnut and Shaker. And I heard the traffic engineer say that his study shows that it's getting to a C evaluation and migrating to a D evaluation. I think it's a huge omission that in the traffic study has not been talked about relative to Chestnut and Benton Drive. Because if Shaker and Chestnut are a C, I would express an opinion that Benton and Chestnut, when that truck tries to take that turn, is an F. Thank you.
Yep.
Voice projects. That's why I'm kind of moving that microphone a little bit. My name is Roland Bolduck. I live at 110 Smith Avenue here in town. And I think I'm your truck expert. If you need my biography, I will give you a biography.
So in the eyes of a court, I believe an expert needs to be someone who has had articles published
Okay.
Or has actually testified as an expert at a trial.
Okay.
So the use of a word expert, we need to be very careful with.
Okay. I've had things published.
So you certainly have been you're certainly a very experienced truck driver.
I've had things published and I've also testified at a federal hearing.
Great. Okay. Cool.
Okay. I've also been driving for 41 years. I've been competing for 29 years. I'm a just hit 20-time state champion, 5-time national champion, 2 of which are grand champion. I know every square inch of the vehicle, and that's my expertise, is knowing the limitations of anything that I drive. And that's what I do in competition. One thing I did want to know is how many trucks. We've already gone over that. The trucks turning on the Shaker Road. The video that they showed, what is the experience of that driver? We don't know. We could have gone through many vehicles making the turn, but this one showed up. Did not look like a 53-foot trailer. It looked like a 45 or a 48-foot trailer. There are differences. The tandem axles in the rear of the vehicle were also forward. That makes turning radius of that vehicle much more convenient. Vehicles that travel on road, sleeper vehicles that we call them, that have the bed in the back, they drive OTR, over the road. Well, they travel with their axles as far back as they can. Legally, it's about 41 feet from the kingpin of the vehicle where it connects to the tractor to the center of the rearmost trailer. So do we know the pin setting on that trailer? Things like that are what I look at when you're going to show me that video. Excuse me, I got to get old and dig my cheaters out. You're showing a new building. It's an egg.
Or new buildings.
Well, the last building had the same square footage at approximately 450.
No, the former proposal was about 565,000 square feet. This is approximately, and I'm not a mathematician, 20% less.
Okay. I have to commend the builders on trying to make something that fits into our community. The only thing that doesn't fit is almost the same number of trucks. My question is going to be, what is that in the middle between the buildings? The green things, is that the green space with trees?
Yeah.
What is between it? Are those parking spots? And we talked about, if I got the number right, it was 398 parking spots. 398 parking spots. I'm wondering how many are small vehicle cars, how many are actually tractor trailers. That will dictate who goes into your facility. From what I see, there's a lot more truck parking spaces than there are car spaces. So I just would like to hear the numbers on tractor trailers versus car. You did talk about an exhaust collection system.
Yes.
These have been proven not to work. And the reason being, let me explain why. The reason being, your exhaust stacks are 13 feet off the ground. So putting that pipe on the exhaust stack is a little difficult. The other ones are on the ground. The ones that don't have stacks are on the ground towards the center of the vehicle. So it's kind of hard to put that one on as well.
So this is the narrative here. So for people who want to know numbers, 122 loading docks, 166 trailer parking spaces.
Russ, 108. They corrected 108.
Oh, excuse me, 108.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Just a point of clarification, the plans, the parking for the plans got reduced. I'll give you the numbers quick so everybody has them. All right, so trailer parking, we're at 138. Okay, want to write that down. Loading docks, we're at 108. Drive up doors, at grade doors is 8. And total parking spaces after reduction in green, because of the green space, is 365. Thank you.
Per building, Rob.
Ours.
Rob, 8 per building. 8 per building.
No, 8 total.
Okay.
How many cars?
The trail.
Can you say that again?
Passenger cars, 365.
What about the trailer parking?
Trailer parking, 138.
Thank you.
Loading docks, 108. And then at grade drive up doors, total 8. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. So just before you go, just for let people know, so we're gonna take testimony until 8 o'clock. We will vote to continue this to a forthcoming meeting because we also have additional business that we need to take care of this evening. So it's now 7:45. So your comments can go to 8 o'clock, or you can save some time for someone else, whatever you'd like.
I would like to save some time for someone else. I just have a couple more questions, and a couple statements. The question I have for the study, let's modernize our study. Anybody who's going to come into this town, I still use a GPS day in, day out, even if I know where I'm going, because the new GPSs are also showing you traffic patterns and how to get around them without saying what GPS system I'm using. That needs to be done from Route 84 coming in from Massachusetts. That has to be done coming in from Hartford on 84 and 91. And it has to be looked at from coming down from Northampton. If you put that GPS address in, how is it going to tell your truck driver how to get in here? Because that's what he's going to follow. He's not going to follow percentages on how people should be coming in or out of this facility. They're going to follow the latest traffic helper that they have in their truck, and that's the GPS. So a lot of them are using truck GPSs. I don't think that would matter here because there's no low bridges or anything like that, or bridges that cannot handle the weight. So that wouldn't be it. So the GPS study to me would be very important because that's what the truck drivers are actually using to get in here. If it puts them through the rotary, then you cannot tell me that it's 0% going through the rotary, because they will come. My life has been revolved around safety, the competitions I do. If there's an incident, I cannot compete. So I am revolving around safety 24/7. I've got 41 years now of safe driving in the trucking industry. And I like standing on those laurels. It's what I strive for, and it's what I would strive for 95 to 100 trucks in, 95 to 100 trucks out. So 200 vehicles when you have parking for 246 vehicles. 108 in the docks, 138 in the parking lot. So 246 is the magic number of what's coming and going. I'm not saying you're going to fill every parking spot, but it is a little bit less than the 378 that you were talking about a couple of years ago. The level of service in this town, I look at this town where I want it in an A rating. And a D rating is not good for anything in this town. I want East Long Meadow to strive for a Class A rating, no matter where we look. And if we can't get it, we strive for it. When we look at an intersection right now that is a D rating, it's got to drop when you add 246 vehicles. So anybody else would like to speak?
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak? So just before people run out, just to let you know what we're anticipating doing. So obviously, our planning director will review all the comments, all the questions. He will be in contact with the developer to go over questions that might still be outstanding. It is our request to the developer and their team. Rob, I'm not taking more testimony. So,
Not testimony, just
No.
logistical.
no, okay, just my logistical.
Logistical.
So, there will be communication back and forth on what you all have asked that maybe have not been answered. Because we want to be as transparent as possible. So that we will reconvene and we will hear again from the developers, and I'm sure Mr. Pill will have comments. And then we will, as a board, be crafting conditions that we believe are appropriate based upon what we hear from town departments, what we hear from the planner, what we heard, what we all know, because we all live in town and we all travel that, that way as well. I think I'm probably the least senior person living in town at 23 years. But I certainly have traveled enough of that section of town. And then our decision is based on what is in the best interest of the entire town. That's what it calls for. What is in the best interest of the entire town. So I'm going to ask the board members. There was a request that the other traffic engineer for Fields of Chestnut be given a little time to review the study. Mr. Pill seemed to indicate that 2 weeks was not sufficient to get a review and get the planning board the information the Friday before our meeting. So is there an interest in putting this off 1 month?
No.
Okay.
That gives them the time to get the materials.
We got it, I think.
Well, you express your opinion.
If it gives them the time to get the materials, then it's.
Well, I will take a motion. So who would like make a motion on the continuance? Rob, do you want to add something before we do this?
It's up to you, but I would say pick a date and time that is on our typical meeting schedule.
Yeah.
If you need help finding that out, just let me know.
I'm thinking October 8th, October 7th.
Let's see.
Yeah.
October 7th. That works.
Is there a motion?
So move.
No.
Second.
Okay.
I make a motion.
Yep. Motion has been made and seconded to continue this hearing until October 8th at 6 o'clock.
October 7th.
Excuse me, October 7th. Yep. At this location. So any discussion? So by roll call, Mr. Punderson, we'll start with you. Yay or nay?
Peter Punderson, aye.
Mr. Terrell? Right. Ms. Cherisuelo?
Aye.
I'm an aye. And Mr. Fonseca?
Aye.
So thank you all. And I want to tell you, this was one of the most respectful crowds we've had on a contentious issue in a very long time. So I personally thank each and every one of you. My advice to all of you, go on the town website and become familiar with all the materials that have been submitted and the materials that will be submitted in the next few weeks. Thank you. And if we could we'll take a 5-minute recess before we begin our business. So we're back in the meeting, and I think our only issue is your report.
Sure.
Sometimes
Shoot for the roll, Mr. Chair. We definitely needed to
get back in.
Well, no, I'm just saying to identify which board member is voting, so they get confused for the minutes.
No worries.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let me get this out, and I'll take that microphone from you. If that's okay.
Aye. Nothing to hear.
Yeah.
I know.
There's nothing left to hear.
Microphone anyways, if this is on.
Who's sticking around? The good stuff.
Go ahead, Rob.
I can't hear, it's not on.
Can you hear me at all?
Yes.
Yes.
You can.
Awesome. All right. So for folks who are still here trying to listen to the meeting, Mr. Page, I'll give my director's report. So I did put the next 6 upcoming meetings for the board's review. Not seeing any conflicts or cancellations because of upcoming holidays. We do have a public hearing scheduled on September 16th. It is for our first detached ADU site plan review. And this one's going to be on 31 Rollins Drive and should be a smooth hearing. we have actually on October 7th, the meeting that we just had continued this hearing to. Ken Comia from Pioneer Valley was going to attend to give an update on the housing production plan, but we could ask him to attend a different meeting.
I was gonna say, push that one somewhere.
All right. So some upcoming planning department stuff. Still working on the mixed use Centertown District bylaw. The first reading before the town council was delayed until their September 23rd meeting. September 9th meeting, I've been told, is a full agenda. And that comes from
More than once a month.
question on Mr. Fee.
More than once a month.
I am still working on the traffic and pedestrian survey reports. The online survey for our housing production plan update is now live, and folks can access the online survey on the town's website. There is a link. And there will also be physical locations available for booklets at the senior center, library, and town hall by the end of the week at the latest. Lastly, on Tuesday, September 30th, Jeff Speck of Dempsey will be presenting the results of his conceptual redesign of the Centertown area. The goal of this project was to create renderings of the Centertown area that promotes walkability and community connectedness. The event will take place at the senior center from 6 to 8 p.m. Mr. Chair, that was all the updates I have for today.
So, last summer or last year, you told us the town had dollars, put a sidewalk.
That's my question.
Yeah, well, I didn't know.
With the sidewalk
I don't know
on
whether
Westwood
you
Ave.
forgot
That
or
would
not.
steal my question.
So I believe.
I'd like to start walking.
I saw her put that down earlier.
So I believe they are
The
doing
time they redid the road.
Exactly.
construction this month.
There you go.
It's starting right now.
Next week, they're supposed to start.
Yep.
According to the town manager, I asked that.
But we do have the
Behind you.
funds available, and the contractor was selected a few weeks ago.
Okay.
We're going from the so we're starting from, forgot the street that's starting from. But it's starting from the middle of Westwood, Melwood, all the way down to Maple Street.
Right up
They're-
Maple to the high
Yep,
school.
they're expanding all the way to the high school.
Okay.
So we're using two separate funding sources to do this whole project. Half from the grant, half from the town.
All right.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion here? None, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Pete. Thank you.
See ya.
Good to see everybody.